Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day? Where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards. Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsmans Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsmans Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsmans Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsmans Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsmans Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsmans Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country. It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is, if you can't yell fire in a theater, it must be okay to silence conservatives, with David and Gretchen taking a look at the very chilling effect mob rule at universities has on free speech. Then, a look at evidence that indicates over 5.5 million non-citizens have voted in presidential elections. And Governor Rauner has signed a crime bill into law that has the support of Chicago's Mayor Emanuel. Is it good or bad? You be the judge. And finally, one liberal Chicago Tribune writer, hypothesizes, let's pretend Senate secrecy on the health care bill is a good thing. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there. And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
If you can't yell fire in a theater, it must be okay to restrict conservatives from speaking publicly, or so the liberal line of logic would have you believe. Liberals are very fond of spouting that old shout fire in a theater bromide to justify the notion that even the Bill of Rights has limitations. It is most frequently cited to justify gun control laws. Not the shouting fire part, the notion that even the Bill of Rights has limitations part. It's mostly nonsense, of course, but liberal dogma has never capitulated to logic and often results in liberals doing the exact opposite of what they preach. The liberal double standard regularly crosses the line separating the sublime from the ridiculous. Hillary Clinton is a case in point. Clinton frequently pontificates on John Q. Public's wasteful practices that harm the environment. Yet Clinton didn't give a second thought to fly 20 miles in a private jet from Martha's Vineyard to Nantucket for a fundraiser. You are a right-wing Nazi if you drive a pickup truck that gets 20 miles to the gallon, but she gets a pass flying a private jet 20 miles. It's difficult to imagine liberals sinking lower in the world of double standards, but they've managed to do it. This past week, liberalism sunk to a new all-time low at the Senate hearings on free speech and how the current campus climate is stifling the First Amendment rights of students, teachers, and citizens. Well, so far so good. Sounds like something I could get behind. However, what it did was highlight how far liberals have climbed out of their hidey hole and publicly espoused drivel that percolated out of the Antifa or anti-fascism movement. The irony of calling conservatives fascist is lost on most, if not all, Antifa movement devotees. It is they who exhibit the most fascist behavior since the 1960s anti-war movement. Earlier this week, Academics specializing in free speech testified before the Senate committee about their opinions on the suppression of free speech on university campuses and the very serious effect it is having on other areas of civil life. The academics' general consensus of opinion was that every right has its limits, and speech can be limited based upon the threat that it could pose. It was essentially the shouting fire in a theater canard. But they also agreed that such limits could not be imposed on speakers by those who simply disagree with what they have to say. The senators were admonished that a heckler's veto went against the very concept of freedom of speech. The potential to offend someone does not outweigh the right of the speaker to express that opinion. It was at that point that Senators Feinstein and Durbin took umbrage at the academics' point of view. They argued threats posed by opponents of certain speech must also be taken into account when deciding whether or not speech was permissible. Note well that both Feinstein and Durbin clearly understood that it was liberals who were threatening violence if a conservative speaker was scheduled to appear on campus. Feinstein took the time to read the First Amendment to the senators and followed it up with this statement. The fact of the matter is that there are certain occasions on which individuals assemble not to act peaceably, but to act as destructively as they possibly can. When you have a set group of people that come to create a disturbance, some of them even wearing masks or wearing certain clothing, what do? I believe that the university has a right to protect its students from demonstrations once they become acts of violence." Unquote. Can you imagine the hue and cry that would have resulted from conservatives threatening violence and shutting down a speech to be given by Barack Obama? At that point, legal expert Professor Eugene Volokh disagreed, arguing, quote, "There are, of course, times, as Senator Feinstein pointed out, that the university isn't trying to suppress speech because it finds it offensive, but because enough people who are willing to stoop to violence find it offensive, that there is then the threat of a violent reaction to such speech. But I tend to agree with Senator Cruz's view that that kind of heckler's veto should not be allowed." Volokh then asked, what should a university do if such a threat existed and the perpetrator showed up on campus to make good on their word? Senator Feinstein didn't much care for Volokh's response. Quote, "I think the answer is to make sure they don't create a disturbance and to threaten them with punishment, meaningful punishment, if they do create a disturbance, and not to essentially let them have their way by suppressing the speech that they are trying to suppress. One of the basics of psychology that I think we've learned, and all of us who are parents, I think, have learned it very firsthand, is behavior that is rewarded is repeated. When thugs learn that they need to do, if thugs learn that all they need to do in order to suppress speech is to threaten violence, then there'll be more such threats from all over the political spectrum. And I think the solution to that is to say that the speech will go on, and if that means bringing in more law enforcement and making sure that those people who do act violently or otherwise physically disruptively, that they be punished. Both Feinstein and Durbin pressed their point of view, suggesting there are times the danger posed is greater than the university is able to handle, to which Volokh replied, "When a school schedules a speech, that might be controversial. It's really not that difficult for the school to coordinate with local authorities to provide for student and campus safety." This is a clear insight into the liberal mind. No facet of the Constitution carries enough weight to obviate the liberal agenda, not the First Amendment and certainly not the Second. They're after your way of life, your firearms, and your right to speak out against their agenda, because if you can't yell fire in a theater, it must be okay to silence conservatives. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for this week.
Yeah, I was commenting to Eric before the show that it's kind of funny that the liberals are calling us fascists and we're calling them fascists. Like, somebody's wrong.
Yes, and by the very definition of the term fascist, they're wrong.
Right.
Correct. Exactly, yes. Give us a call, 815-205-1584, 815-205-1584. And if you have thoughts on this whole thing about, they call it the heckler's veto. it shouldn't be a surprise that liberals would have that opinion, because they're the ones who tried this fairness and doctrine thing, which clearly the whole purpose of that is to provide funding for liberals because they can't get enough advertising to support shows. What was that radio show that was on for a while? Radio America, or what the heck was it?
Air America?
No, Air America is the CIA.
That's an airline.
Actually, they probably were involved too. But I can't remember what it was, but something like that. And they literally could not get enough sponsors to keep it on the air.
Sure.
So,
liberal radio station.
Yeah. So the obvious answer is to the fairness doctrine, which requires that stations support that, even if they don't have the money.
But it's just a doctrine. It's not.
Well, whatever you want to call it.
It's not really a thing.
No, it's nonsense.
It's not enforceable.
It's not. But that's it shouldn't be a surprise that they're trying to do this.
Well, and they were, I don't even remember how they were planning on doing it, but they were trying to shut down all conservative radio stations and television stations and everything.
Yeah, because we were lying pigs. Did you read the comments that Cruz made in this?
I did read some of them, yeah.
Pithy stuff.
I mean, the ones that were in here.
Yeah,
yes.
Cruz said some really interesting things. The first one that he made about all this was the best solution for bad ideas in speech is better ideas in speech.
Yeah. I like the one where he says, if ideas are strong, if ideas are right, you don't need to muzzle the opposition. He says they are afraid their ideas cannot stand the dialectic, cannot stand opposition, cannot stand facts or reasoning or anything on the other side.
Yeah.
Which is true.
It is true. He made a number of, he showed his chops in conservatism. He really did. He came out with some pretty strong points. He talking just about universities in general, he says if universities become homogenizing institutions that are focused on inculcating and indoctrinating rather than challenging, we will lose what makes universities great. The First Amendment is about opinions that you passionately disagree with and the right of others to express them. And that's always what it's supposed to be. But even in 1970, when the hippies were out there and they're talking about free speech, when I tried to get up and give a little free speech, that was a different story. They wouldn't let me do it.
Tomatoes.
Yeah, they were. Anyway, when we come back, we're gonna take a look at voter fraud. Apparently, up to 5.7 million non-citizens have voted in presidential elections. So we'll take a look at that when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsmans Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's My Editor at mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back. Give us a call, 815-205-1584. 815-205-1584. Weigh in on, particularly on the freedom of speech thing. You remember Milo, Yiannopoulos. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm Italian. I'd pronounce it like an Italian would. Yiannopoulos. But, they canceled his thing out. So
In Berkeley.
Yeah. And this is, we've said this before. These fragmented groups, gays, blacks, Hispanics, belong in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Because unlike the Democratic Party, which feeds them just enough that they survive and pits them against one another, the Republicans are going like, dude, get a job.
Right.
Get a job, come be our friend. It's okay.
It's funny that what you just said, obviously an allusion to it, but you didn't specifically say, but the Democrats are essentially running a dogfighting ring.
That is exactly what they do. Because if they all got together, the Democrats would be up the creek without a paddle. If they sat down and compared notes, that would end it.
Well, especially the gays and the Muslims.
And see, only liberals can come up with that pairing.
And I would say they'd kill each other, but just the Muslims would kill the gays.
That's what would happen, right? That's exactly right.
They would not kill each other.
Exactly, yes. They'd fight back with a boa.
Yeah.
But the type
and also the Muslims Muslims
and anybody. It doesn't matter who.
The feminists and the Muslims.
Exactly. The Muslims would be killing everybody. Only liberals can come up with this stuff. Seriously. It's really quite stupendous. When you can espouse the concept that you have to respect a culture that beats women and cuts people's heads off.
But we also espouse feminism.
Exactly. It makes no sense. We support gays. Of course, we also support Muslims who kill gays.
Who would stone them in the public square.
Exactly.
But
and that's on a good day.
That's beside the point.
Yeah.
Right.
And Republicans are the exact opposite. Conservatives are like, okay, maybe I don't like homosexuality. Maybe it's against my religion, but live and let live. Go and do your thing. We're not going to bother you.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't think it's right, but I'm not going to kill them.
Exactly. And we've talked about this many times. It just doesn't make sense, and particularly for, I guess you'd call them special interest groups. There's a home for everybody in the Conservative Party. All we say is get a freaking job. And we'll invite you to the party. It's fine. We don't have a problem with that.
Right.
And even people who,
And the funny thing is it's always been that way. They call it the Big Tent Party, and that's why.
Exactly. And, I've said before, I don't have any problem with gays. And we have some people in the party that don't like that. But I've honestly never heard anybody say, we don't want them in the party.
No.
They just go, well, we're not going to invite you to my house for dinner.
It's not my thing, but, you know.
I don't know how they get away with this. So, Yiannopoulos, or whatever the hell it is, hardcore conservative guy, gay, but hardcore conservative guy. He used to, in fact, didn't he write for
Breitbart?
Breitbart, yeah. Well, you don't write for Breitbart if
you don't have conservative street cred, you don't write for Breitbart.
And so here you go. Liberals are always talking about how we hate these people and we marginalize them. And what do you get? You get a gay guy who's a conservative, marginalize him, put him on the, nope, that's not right.
Cancel a speech, cause a riot.
Isn't going to work.
Let's hold a riot.
So he's been facing this, it turns out, a number of places now. That started at Berkeley. Mm-hmm. A number of places now have basically canceled him out.
Yeah.
Because of a threat from liberals who say, well, we won't go there, or we'll gather outside. I mean, we've seen this right here. This happened at a fundraiser right here. It was Moms Against What was
it wasn't even moms. It was I don't know that it was an organized group, but it was a bunch of women's march attenders.
I mean, they just came up with their own name?
Against Steve Ballage.
Yeah. Ballage is like a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Although he's a strong opinion teddy bear.
He's like a teddy bear with a lightning rod.
That's what it's, yeah. Yeah. But,
we should create a logo for him.
That'd be kind of funny.
I should hire Yen to draw him a logo.
Yeah. With kind of a tummy, tummy sticking out, holding a lightning rod.
Yeah, it's a teddy bear with Steve's face on it and a lightning rod.
That's funny. I like that idea. And then just put it up on Facebook and don't tell him.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. And, we talked about this at the election, too. This whole concept that liberals are talking about how we are not inclusive. But you look at the presidential tickets when we first went in, and they had an angry old white guy who's a socialist and an angry old white woman who is, I don't know what you would even call her.
A socialist.
Yeah. And what did we have? We had Rubio's Cuban, isn't he?
Yeah.
So that's Hispanic. So we had two Hispanics. We had Cruz. Yeah. We had a woman. We had an old person. I mean, we had the most diverse slate.
We had a black
people.
Neurosurgeon.
Exactly. And we're the ones who
and we're the ones that
inclusive.
Need more diversity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whatever.
And they get away with it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People go, Republicans aren't inclusive.
Even on the county board, we have more women on our side than they have on their side. The only thing we don't have is any black people. We've been working on it, but
it makes no sense. Well, on the board. I mean, we certainly have any number of black people who are active in the party.
I'm saying on the actual board.
Yeah. And we've got some black people that probably should be on the board.
Oh yeah,
I can think of a couple of people that would do a good job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, poor Milo is getting the axe from everywhere, and that really is it's a shame.
Yeah. So he had a speech booked at a restaurant in New York City, I think.
Yeah.
I think is where it was. It's called Julan Club in Manhattan, and he made a statement. He basically said, at some point, the same leftists that threatened to boycott them over Milo's coming out conservative event will decide that white guys running a Chinese restaurant is disgusting cultural appropriation and boycott them anyway. Which is prescient.
I like coming out conservative. You came out of the closet as a conservative.
It's a good title.
That is.
But yeah, I guess this is across the country. Gay conservatives have been warned that they are not welcomed at Pride events this year, which is
stupid.
It's incomprehensible to me.
It's stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just. Again, we were talking before the show. He said there's an exercise event, there's a fitness event in Chicago that's free, but you're not welcome. Everyone's welcome except for right-wing extremists. And what was the other one?
Right-wing and law enforcement.
Law enforcement.
And it's an exercise thing?
It's like some exercise class they're doing where they're like teaching them how to punch and how to do lunges and things like that.
I'm like, so what are they gonna do? Like, show us your voter card? I'm like, how are they gonna know unless you wear an infidel shirt like I do?
You know what this reminds me of? Remember, when was it? It was several months ago where they were holding a march in, I want to say North Carolina or someplace, that had passed voter law where you have to show an ID, and they were protesting it.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to participate in the march protesting requiring an ID, you had to have an ID.
Right.
Where do they come up with this stuff? Do they ever, like, at night, laying in bed just before they doze off, go, that's really stupid.
Wait a second.
That's a really stupid
And then when they wake
decision.
up in the morning, everything's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. I have those little fantasies all the time. If something seems brilliant at like 1 a.m, you wake up and you go, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Do you ever do that thing where you keep like a notebook by your bed for those thoughts? You like scribble it down, and then the next morning you read it and you go,
You can't. It's unintelligible. I did that years ago, and it was like,
like that one time you were dozing off, and you go, they don't play croquet anymore, do they? And when you woke up, I told you what you said, and you were like, what?
We were driving somewhere, weren't we?
No, we were just sitting. We were just sitting around.
I dozed off apparently, and I said,
Right as he was dozing off, he goes, "They don't play croquet anymore, do they?" And it was a complete non sequitur. It had nothing to do with anything. We've got
a brave individual who has called in, so we'll take him and we'll see what he has to say. I think we'll take him. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
Hello.
Are you there?
Hello, Carlo.
Oh, here we go. You know what? It's. Hi, are you there? Hello?
Sounds like you hung up on him.
I don't know.
Yeah, we lost him.
We did?
And we lost my phone, too. So I'll get that back online, and we'll wait for some new callers.
Maybe the real trick here is not to trust the host.
I was
going to
say, I think maybe the engineer needs to take the calls.
I think...
like back in WIND days.
It's possible that George's admonition that I should touch nothing may have had some validity.
There was a reason for that. Yeah, I think so.
Whoever the caller was, I apologize.
You're welcome to call back.
You're welcome to call back.
He has no animosity towards you. He's just an idiot.
It's. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. It's good to have friends. It'd be nice if one of them showed up once in a while. 5.7 million non-citizens apparently have voted in past presidential elections.
Possibly.
If 10% of that's true.
Well, yeah.
That's still an outhouse full of people.
Well, right, yeah. Some of the numbers that they're fairly certain are true.
Yeah.
As few as 594,000. Another one estimates 800,000. I mean, these are big numbers.
Yeah. So Hillary's popular vote over Trump was 2.9 million votes. It easily could be people who were... Do you think the Democrats would register illegal or register people who weren't citizens?
Oh, no, I'm sure they wouldn't do that. They know that's illegal, right?
I think that, yeah. I can't imagine them doing that. It's amazing. You know, they found that, I think it was in Ohio, they found the
woman who voted 8 times.
Yeah.
In one election. For Obama.
For herself a couple times, for her daughter, who she didn't think was going to go vote, but then did go vote. For somebody, some dead aunt was another one. She just kept voting.
Yeah.
And apparently nothing happened to her.
No.
And she admitted it. She came out and said it.
I thought they were prosecuting her.
Oh, did they?
I think they're prosecuting
I didn't get
her.
that part.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure. Not that I think she's gone to jail yet, but I think they are prosecuting her.
Well, good. It's nice to have something to fall back
Well,
on.
yeah, at least it gives you at least some faith in the system.
It says they did an inquiry and they said 82% of the non-citizens who admitted to voting in a survey said, "I definitely voted for Obama." Well, there's a surprise.
Yeah, that number jumped out to me too. 82%.
The other thing is, and we're just about out of time in this segment, we'll talk when we come back because I think it's real interesting. Democrats are already declaring that they're going to run in the next election. And I find that very interesting on a number of levels. One level I find very interesting is the absolute stupidity of the people who are suggesting they're going to run for president. And I think there's a lot of...
it should be fun.
Yeah, it should be. Well, it should be a comedy for some of these people. So we're going to look at who's already declaring to run in the next election, and also Supreme Court. That's an interesting twist there. So we're going to look at all that, and hopefully this gentleman can call back or lady, and we'll talk to her. But anyway, we'll be back with all that and more when we return with On Target Radio. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474 and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
Apparently our caller returned. Why don't you do it, and that way I won't totally screw it up.
Okay.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hello.
And who is this?
Hi. My name's Rennell.
And what can we...
I was featured on the Howard Stern show.
You were what?
Uh,
This is not Howard Stern.
The Howard Stern show. I call him all the time.
Oh, okay.
I'm a blind filmmaker in New York. I'm legally blind.
Oh, okay.
I was just calling to see if I could get some exposure from my YouTube channel.
Okay, and what is that?
You go on YouTube, and it's Official Rennell Reed Channel. I make films about the Capital Region and other places in New York.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your calling in and telling us that. How's the weather in New York today?
It's very, very wet.
Oh, well, I'm sure given enough time it will dry out. And everyone will tune into your show, and we would be happy to do that. Thanks for calling. Have a nice evening. So, there you go. I don't know. I think when I asked the weather question that it couldn't have been a computer. It had to be a real person.
It sounded like a computer.
It did.
Computer voice.
Yeah, it did. But the computer knew the weather. So I don't know. So here's the thing.
I'm sure Google knows the weather.
You think that was Google that called?
No.
What is it? Is it like Bob
saying.
Google? What
It's just computers. Computers know stuff.
Our clue should have been anonymous for the phone number, I guess.
Well, there is something to that. So this, I find this, and with some of these names you don't know. Kanye West. Okay? I mean, seriously. Kanye West, who says, he creates music. Okay?
Yeah, the writer for the Constitution.com said creates music.
Yeah, creates music. He clearly stated that he'd be running for president in 2020, and it would appear to be an off-the-cuff remark made during, he was on an award show. First of all, Kanye West is a very strange human being. You remember how he totally ripped a new one to Trump, and then like 3 days later he's at Trump Tower arm in arm with Trump, telling him he voted for him. And
is that him?
Yeah, he's a strange human being. So who knows? But he says he's going to run in 2020, but he's not the only one. Eric Holder and Joe Biden have, it has surfaced that they've talked about it. Those are probably fairly serious, reasonably serious threats, certainly Biden.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And Hillary Clinton, who is still blaming everybody on the surface of the earth and everything, except one person.
Herself.
Yeah, she doesn't blame herself for that. And then we have, this one is just too precious. This is just a gift.
I think
okay?
it's just a publicity stunt.
Of course it is, but it's just that it is clever. It is clever.
Okay.
Stephen Colbert went to Russia and was on a talk show, and he announced that he's considering running for president in 2020 and said he would welcome Russian help in an unofficial capacity. It is clever. You got to give him credit for that. It's clever. He was poking fun, obviously, at the Russian connection.
Yes.
What's really, it's not in here, but I think he's now in Siberia. I think they just hauled his ass off and locked him up, and that's the last you'll hear from him. He was playing, it says, Russian roulette with shots of vodka when he made that announcement. So, you know.
So he might have been under the influence.
It might have been, yes. It might have been. So who knows? But something of a little more serious nature is, you know, we said before the election that the next president could get 2, maybe 3 Supreme Court justices. And we got one. He got the first one. But now, apparently, the word is that Kennedy, from some of his people, that Kennedy is talking about the possibility of retiring in the next go-around or the one after, which would give Trump another one. If Kennedy goes off and Trump replaces him with a conservative, which there's no reason to think he won't at this point because he already has done that,
Right.
I don't picture him going, well, we did one conservative, let's do a really screaming liberal now. I don't think that's a deal in his mind.
No.
That would lock up the Supreme Court, especially if he was somebody younger, like, you know, 17-year-old kid or something. You know, he'd be on for like 80 years.
Yeah.
So that appears to be, you know, Kennedy is, what is he, 80?
He'll be
81, I think
81
he said.
next month is what
Yeah.
this says.
It's time to go away. Take Ginsburg with you.
Yeah, oh jeez. And she's loopy too. I mean, she's losing it.
Yeah, she is. She is. And so too is Feinstein. Have you listened to that woman talk lately?
No, not lately.
She can't. This just just during prepared notes speaking from the lectern in the well, right?
Uh-huh.
She doesn't remember the president's name sometimes.
Oh no, you said Pelosi.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
Feinstein.
Excuse me. Pelosi.
No, I have heard that.
Yeah.
She's having a tough time.
And that's not loopy. There's a problem.
She's getting senile.
Yeah, there's actually a real problem with her.
Well, that's what I meant by Bader Ginsburg too. She's getting senile.
Yeah. No, she's not getting senile.
Okay, she's been senile.
She's whacked out. Well, her buddy was Antonin Scalia.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Antonin's he's a good liberal. She just had no idea what was going on. We go fishing and we talk about that.
When Trump was up, when the election was coming up, she said she was going to leave the country if, or no, she said she was going to quit the court if he won.
Yeah.
It's like, you do realize that's counterproductive, right?
Well, see, that's one of those things where she was laying in bed, just drifting off to sleep, and goes, wait.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not right.
So back to what we were talking about before, voter fraud.
Voter fraud, yeah.
So if it makes anybody feel any better, the woman in Ohio who voted, now this article doesn't say she voted 8 times, but I'm pretty sure that's what she admitted.
It was something like
on
8 times,
video
yeah.
to voting 8 times. She did go to jail. Or prison, sorry. She was sent to prison for 5 years. This is funny though, you'll love this. Just like Hillary Clinton, this is what the woman said. I think the board has shown me nothing but total disrespect for the 30 years I've served them. I believe so she's been a poll worker, and signing up voters for
and
30
voting,
years, and
God knows how many times over the years.
Yeah, now she feels disrespected because they're sending her to prison.
Well, see, now if she lived in Virginia, she might be able to vote again when she gets out.
Well, right, and then although I'm not sure it's a felony, it's probably just a misdemeanor. But
you don't go to prison for misdemeanors; you go to county.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a felony.
If you're doing hard time, that's
the other good thing is that when I Googled woman voted 8 times, I also got a woman in Texas was sent to prison for 8 years for vote fraud.
Voter fraud?
Yeah. So I mean, there are people.
How many people from Chicago have gone to jail for voter fraud?
Well, I'm not seeing any hits on that.
if people who committed voter fraud
I could
in
spend
Chicago,
a week doing research and still not find anything. I'm guessing.
If people who committed voter fraud in Chicago were sent to prison,
Chicago wouldn't have
that would solve
any
a lot of our
problems.
problems.
It would balance out the number of millionaires who left Chicago.
There go the aldermen. There go.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a
would
clean
pretty much-
sweep.
Other than the gangbangers with the guns running around just shooting like little kids,
Yeah.
it would take care of all of Chicago's problems.
It would go a long way. It really would. Yeah. We really don't give a lot of respect to some people.
No.
And that's something we probably shouldn't even think about and worry about. But I just
No.
popped in my mind.
No, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't stay awake at night.
I'm a little. The bill that was passed that Ronner signed that we're going to talk about. I have some concerns about it, which I'll bring up because I'm just not sure. But we'll bring it up in the next segment. We'll talk a little bit about it. But there's. We control the presidency. We control the Senate. We control the House. We now have the majority of governors.
Yeah.
You can't get more entrenched than we are.
Right.
And we still aren't doing crap.
Right.
For the most part.
They're still having a hard time, repealing Obamacare. I mean, I don't know.
And what really frosts my chaps is, there's a twist to that, but never mind. We have congressional Republicans who really are not supporting the president.
Right.
As if it's a better plan to not be consolidated.
Yeah.
And people go, well, he doesn't do this, and he does that, and he doesn't do this. But look this guy has done more. And what are we in, 4 months now? January, February, March, April, May, June?
You can't really count.
About 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
5 or 6 months he's done more for conservatism and more for this country.
Yeah.
And hell, the fact is probably more than George Bush, realistically.
Well,
because
yeah.
I like W. He's the kind of guy I thought it'd be cool to have lunch with and just
Sure.
BS. But the fact is he didn't do that much.
He wasn't this guy. I mean, he's not Mr. Art the Deal. He's not going out,
Right. He's part of the establishment.
Well,
to be
right.
fair.
I mean, George W. was not, sleeping 3 hours a night and going out
Right.
and making the deals. He's not that guy. That's
No.
Trump. Trump's
He was,
that guy.
He's a likable guy, but Trump is serious. I mean, he just goes.
Yeah.
He's doing business. That's all.
Yeah.
And I think the thing
He's
that frosts
doing what he's always done.
exactly. I think the thing that frosts a lot of the Republicans is that he's not doing it the way they want it done.
Right.
But he's doing it.
He's not doing it the way that it's always been done.
Exactly.
And
but he's doing
there's
it.
a lot to recommend that.
That's exactly right. That's
The way it's
exactly
always
right.
been done is kind of a load of crap in many cases, as
why,
it turns out.
why he hasn't fired more people? But I was thinking about this morning, and the answer may well be if he fired all of those people, there'd be a big empty White House.
Well, yeah.
I mean, how do you replace them all? So I don't know. It's
I've heard that there's still positions being filled on various boards and
There are.
probably offices.
absolutely
And things, so.
they've advertised. So is Will County, for that matter. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about the crime bill that came through and whether it's good or bad. I don't know. It's a little hard to know. But we'll talk about that and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsmans Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checkered Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checkered Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Okay, we got a new rule, class. Pay attention. If you call in and it's listed as anonymous instead of a phone number, we are just going to drop you because we've gotten two people who were...
Somebody's pranking us.
Yeah, probably that's a better word than I was going to use.
Yeah, so don't block your number. If you block your number,
if you really want to
we
talk,
can't see it, we're not going to take your call.
Yeah, if you really want to talk, you got to be legitimate.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
From the Illinois State Rifle Association, the good news is that SB 1657, the gun dealer licensing bill, was not passed by the Illinois House of Representatives. The bad news is that it was not defeated either. Shortly before 8 p.m. on Wednesday, May 31st, the Illinois House of Representatives adjourned to the call of the chair. That means regular session is continued. Deadlines for bills have been extended until June 30th, 2017. Deadlines in the legislature can be extended again and again. That means SB 1657 is still alive and can be voted on any time the legislature is in session, which they are right now. This will likely be one of the summers in which the Illinois legislature will be repeatedly called back into session. That also means that the anti-gun side has time to work on getting votes. The ISRA will continue working through the summer to prevent this bill and other anti-gun bills, like SB 556, from passing. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman, Saturday and Sunday, July 8th and 9th. Illinois Concealed Carry 1. When seconds count, the police are only minutes away. That's why you should get Illinois Concealed Carry. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry, as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Sunday, July 9th, Long Range Rifle, taught by Ed Janka. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
So here's a real shocker that came out the other day. In the wake of the shooting at the baseball field in Virginia, right?
Yep.
A bill has been proposed that makes Washington, D.C. recognize all concealed carry permits.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently, and it was introduced, obviously, by someone in the in the Senate. They said, well, we should be able to recognize concealed carry permits. There's nothing like shooting, and I'm not making fun of them.
No.
But there's nothing like shooting at a lawmaker to get a law passed.
Well, it does. Things happen.
It makes a point.
It greases the wheels.
Yeah. I didn't see any of this, our thoughts and prayers. No. Let's pass a law that says we can carry guns now, okay? Okay. Thank you very much. Next slide. The bill that was passed, that Rauner signed into law, on the surface, when you look at it, I go, okay, I get this. And I don't see that it's a huge deal, but if they think it is, instead of, if you break a gun law, the range of sentencing has been 3 to 14 years. And so now what this bill is 7 to 14 years. Well, okay.
For repeat offenders.
For repeats, yeah. First time is whatever.
It's still 3 to 14.
But two up, then that's they've raised the ante. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's perfectly fine. But the part I haven't been able to find yet is this part. The bill also expands probation eligibility for first-time drug offenders, which may or may not be good. I mean, if you're talking about a kid who's got, an ounce of dope, okay, but if you're talking about this guy finally got caught, he's been peddling heroin by the truckload, it gives the State Department of Corrections more discretion in awarding sentencing credit, creates a task force within the Illinois State Police for combating gun violence and other violent crimes, and creates a program aimed at first-time offenders to address the underlying reasons behind the crimes. Now, the Illinois State Police Task Force for combating gun violence and other violent crimes caught my attention. Because and mind you, the sponsor of this bill was Kwame Raoul, who is, a Chicago Democrat, and that's being very generous.
Yes.
A couple things worry me. First of all, Rahm Emanuel supports the bill. Okay. Rauner, who said, reaching across the aisle, working together.
Yeah. Bipartisan, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Now,
I saw his soundbite on the news.
The one thing I will say is Johnson, who, superintendent of police in Chicago, made what I thought is a pretty pithy statement. And he said, as I have said time and again, I don't believe that we can arrest our way out of gun violence that we've seen in some of our neighborhoods on the south and west sides, which is absolutely true. The solution is not the solution to the problem, is not to lock people up. It's to get to the root of what's causing the problem. Locking up people for crime is fine, but locking people up, there have actually been any number of studies that say incarceration is not a particularly good deterrent to crime. It's a good deterrent from the fact that if they're in jail, they're not going to commit crime.
Right, yeah.
But it doesn't, you don't go to jail and go, oh my gosh, I can't ever do this again because I'll go back to jail. Because the recidivism rate is extremely high.
Sure.
And the worst part is, they go, well, I'll put them away for 40 years. Well, here's the worst part. When you let somebody out of jail after 20 years, 25, 30 years, they don't know any other way of life.
Right.
They hit the streets and they don't know what to do. Literally. And there are people, we know for a fact, there are people who intentionally go out and commit a crime so they'll get sent back to jail.
Right. So
putting people in jail only deters crime insofar as they're not on the street committing a crime. It's like capital punishment, which I'm in favor of capital punishment. But the reality is these people they don't go, oh, I can't kill him because we have capital punishment.
They don't value their lives enough to think about that. The interesting thing that is that I see here is that Eddie Johnson said he's not in favor of the mass incarceration of black citizens.
Well, what do we expect him to say?
Well, nothing.
Yeah.
Just keep your mouth shut.
No.
How about? But he was at the bill signing with Rauner. He was on TV with him.
Yeah.
And this is a step in the right. Well, Are you in favor of it or are you not in favor of it? Make up your mind.
And he's the guy who originally pushed for this bill.
He's talking out both sides of his mouth, so Eddie
originally
Johnson.
he pushed for the bill.
Vulgar hand gesture to Eddie Johnson.
Yeah. It's like like the captain in Louisiana that lined up all of his deputies, and each one of them had a black minister standing next to him, and he goes, "This is not about color; it's about crime."
Right.
The reality is, it's black and Hispanic neighborhoods in the city of Chicago that produce, by percentage, the greatest amount of crime. And it's not being racist. It's just, look at the numbers.
Right.
It's factual.
Right.
Now, the causes for that, all that, and how many times have we talked about this? McCarthy, who we know, I never liked McCarthy, who was the previous superintendent. McCarthy got thrown under the bus for the wrong reason.
Sure.
To get rid of him was fine, but at least get rid of him for the right reason, you know?
It's not like he was so amazing or anything.
But it goes back to the theory that I've always felt, that even though you know a guy's guilty of something, you don't just put him in jail on some arbitrary chumped up thing. You go and do your homework, do your police work, and you find out the real reason that you put him in jail. But to just incarcerate somebody because you know they're a bad guy, it's very tempting to think that way. But then you could be
right.
next.
It's the breakdown of our society.
Exactly.
Basically.
So
I also love this one that Toni Preckwinkle.
Oh yeah.
Who's not even involved in this. She's the Cook County Board president.
Well, she's got her nose in everything.
Yeah, she's got to, stick her fingers in there. But she says, so many of our communities are so unsafe that people think they need to have guns to protect themselves. No, they do. we do. Everyone does.
Yeah. Let's rethink this, Tony. Okay. How many people were shot in Chicago last year?
It's just that liberal, the liberal mindset just drives me crazy.
Exactly.
Just they think it's in our heads that we need guns.
If I don't remember how you pronounce his name, is it Scalise? The guy got shot. The senator got shot.
Yeah, Scalise.
If he had not been leadership, that
would have been a bloodbath.
The Capitol Police would not have been there, and nobody would have had a gun, and he would have just picked out anybody he felt like shooting.
Yeah.
There would have nothing to stop him.
It would have been a bloodbath.
Exactly. And yet, the first thing liberals did coming back is say, we need more gun control.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's because
never let an opportunity go to waste.
That's because they shot the Republican baseball team. If they had shot up the Democratic baseball team,
no, they'd still be saying, take all the guns away, make us like Australia.
I don't know. And speaking of which, we should get our friend from Australia back on our PM. They're doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
They have another gun recall because they feel there's some 400,000 guns or something still floating out that were not registered and confiscated. So they're doing another amnesty for a short period of time, after which it's a triple, quadruple King's X felony or some damn thing, I don't know what. But they're doing another round of pick them all up.
Let's just double down on it, Never mind what was like a Godiva shop or something. It was like a chocolate shop. They had the hostage situation.
Yeah.
Forget about that. It's no big deal.
My favorite was, and I don't remember which one of the Looney Tunes it was. I don't remember if it was Feinstein or if it was what's her face or Boxer. Could have even been Boxer. Actually, when I think about it, it was one of their staffers, and maybe it was Feinstein. It was attributed to the senator, but in point of fact, it turns out when you dug around, you found out it was one of her staffers. But the staffer said, if you don't have a gun, it's human nature that the bad guy will put his down.
Oh, she didn't actually say that?
No, and she's always been attributed to that.
Yeah.
And I wish she had, because she's a Looney Tune. But when you finally start digging down, what you find out is one of her staffers actually is the one who said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And fair's fair.
I was under the impression that she actually.
It was
said
Feinstein,
that.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Fair's fair. I've always said, you tell the truth whether it works for you or not, because at least if you know what the truth is, you know what to deal with.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway. It certainly sounds like something. The other thing is, real quick, just to wrap it up, Darlene Glanton, who is a writer for Chicago Tribune, wrote a thing about anybody interested in a game of make-believe, let's pretend that all the secrecy surrounding the draft of the Senate health care bill is a good thing. You know, McConnell picked, 12 Republicans to put it together and doing a close thing. And now the liberals are screaming bloody murder that you can't do that.
I'm sorry, what?
Have you ever heard of Obamacare before?
Yeah.
We have to pass it to find out what's in it?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
These people are idiots.
The draft comes out this morning and we're voting on it this afternoon and it's this thick.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't want to hear it.
I don't know about these people. Anyway, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen tonight. And we appreciate it if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
But not the prank callers.
Not the prank callers. If you're anonymous, bug off.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'd also like to thank our engineer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, My Editor, Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsmans Club, and Safer USA.
And particularly, our engineer here who can push buttons, and I can't push very well, apparently. I don't know what it is. What am I going to tell you? Anyway, and finally, we hope that you'll listen next week when Gretchen and I and the engineer will be covering more red meat issues that affect your life.